welcome back. So what we're looking at today is 4.3, more features, more functions. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So what we're looking at here is we want to find the x-intercepts of the following quadratic functions. So different ways we can do this depending on the situation, as you know. So we're going to look at number 1. So we have y equals x squared plus 3x minus 10. So what two things multiply to give us a negative 10 and will add to give us a positive 3? Well, if we think about things that multiply to 10, we've got 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. So if we have a positive 5, so x plus 5 and a negative 2, that's going to give us our positive 3. So our x-intercepts are negative 5 and positive 2. So the ones that you can factor. So number 1 and number 2 are definitely factorable. On number 3, you're going to want to use factor by grouping for this one because we have the 6th on the x squared. For 4, 5, and 6, we can do these a little differently. So we can set them equal to 0 and then work through solving them. So we're going to do number 5 together. So we have 0 equals negative x plus 3 squared plus 9. So what we want to do first is subtract the 9 from both sides. So we end up with negative 9 equals negative times x plus 3 squared. Now I'm going to get rid of the negatives first. So divide away negative 1, divide by negative 1. So we end up with 9 equals x plus 3 squared. Now to get rid of the square, we take the square root. So the square root of 9 is plus or minus 3 equals x plus 3. And so then our solution will be x equals negative 3 plus or minus 3. So we'd have 0 and we'd have negative 6 for our two solutions. But you can leave it just like this. That's perfectly fine. So it'll be the same idea for 4 and 6. Okay? All right, the next section we are looking at is absolute value equations. So use the given information to write the indicated form of the function. And if this will let me scroll, there we go. Maybe. Scroll too far. Oops. Like I was saying, we're going to use the given information to write the indicated form of the function. So we are going to look at number 8. So here we have the absolute value equation. So we've got the graph of it. We want to give the absolute value equation. So we have to figure out what our vertex is. So we're here at negative 5 and down at negative 4. So that means we're going to have f of x equals the absolute value of x plus 5. Because remember, just like with quadratics, it's going to be the opposite sign on the inside, minus 4. So our equation is f of x equals the absolute value of x plus 5 minus 4. For this first one here, our piecewise equation, I realize it's a little complicated, so we'll do it together. Looking at it, we need to figure out where the vertex is, so where our values change and start reciprocating. So notice here we have 0, we've got 3 and 3, 6 and 6, 9 and, well, we're assuming 9. So 2, 0 is our vertex point like we have here. So we're going to have f of x equals, oops. And then our equation, so when we plug 1 in, we're getting 3. So we're multiplying our value by 3. So we're going to have 3 times x minus 2 and negative 3, times x minus 2. And the first one is going to be when x is greater than 2. And the second one is going to be when x is less than or equal to 2. So this is the piecewise version of the absolute value equation. So it's just splitting it into 2, and we have to change the sign to indicate that equation change, because notice here you'd have a negative slope, here you have a positive slope. So that's what this looks like when we split it. So for number 9, you're just going to make a table of values. Make sure you include the vertex. Notice 6 and 8, that's your vertex, 6, negative 8. This one, you're going to graph it out. So use the 2 equations to graph it. All right, the last section. So those are all different forms of the expression, forms of the absolute value. So expression is your keyword for this lesson, expression. So we want to evaluate each expression for the given value of the variable. So we're going to do a couple of these. So for number 12, we have negative t, where t is negative 7. So that means we have negative 7. If we have negative times a negative, that's a positive. So our answer is just 7. All right, for number 19, we have the absolute value of negative q, where q is 8. So absolute value of negative 8. Negative 8 times a negative gives us a positive 8, and the absolute value of positive 8 is 8. So it's just going through the steps. Make sure you notice all the negative symbols everywhere you're at. Anytime you take the absolute value of a negative number, you're going to get a positive number unless there's a negative out front. So be very, very careful with that. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a great day.